I'd like to call this meeting to order. Superintendent, can you please call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Hoover,
Here.
Mr. Clark,
Here.
Mr. Short,
Here.
Mr. Huey.
Here.
And note for the record that Mr. Reed is absent today. Ms. Perez.
Here.
And Ms. Sharostov.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any public comments at this time? Okay, we will now adjourn to closed session and we'll be back at 6 p.m. Thank you. All right, we are going to call this meeting to order. First, I am going to, do we have anything to report out of closed session?
Yes, we do. The board took action unanimously to approve the resignation of a district school clerk.
Thank you, Superintendent. Next, we will do the Pledge of Allegiance. Rhea, would you like to lead us tonight? I didn't tell you beforehand. That was my bad. Rookie president move.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I will now read the broadcast statement. A broadcast and recording is being made at the direction of the board, and the broadcast may capture images and sounds of those attending the meeting. The meeting is being live streamed on the district's YouTube channel. Folsom Cordova Unified School District Board Policy 1313 promotes mutual respect, civility, and orderly conduct among employees, parents, and the public. We will treat staff, parents, and members of the public with respect and expect the same in return. If any member of the public uses obscenities or communicates in a demanding, loud, insulting, and/or demeaning manner, the board will calmly and politely admonish the person to communicate civilly. Public comments during board meetings are an important component of public engagement and transparency, and all written comments submitted to the board by 3 p.m. today have been read. Per the Brown Act, the board is not allowed to enter into a two-way discussion on any matter not on the agenda. Superintendent, can you please take the roll call?
Yes, Mr. Hoover.
Here.
Mr. Clark.
Here.
Mr. Short.
Here.
Mr. Hui.
Here.
And please note for the record, Mr. Reed is absent tonight. Ms. Perez.
Here.
Ms. Sharostov.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're moving, I'm sorry, we already did reporting out of closed session, correct?
Yes.
I'm sorry. So next we'll move to adoption of the agenda.
Mr. Vice President?
Yes, sir.
I move that we amend the agenda to remove item 11B, public hearing, charter school petition to establish new Pacific school, and discussion item 12A, approve or deny new Pacific school, Rancho Cordova charter petition.
Motion made by Mr. Clark. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Superintendent, please call roll.
Mr. Hoover.
Aye.
Mr. Clark.
Aye.
Mr. Short.
Aye.
Mr. Hui.
Aye.
Ms. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Sharostov.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda with that amended agenda?
I'll move it.
Okay, we have the
Second.
first by Mr. Clark, second by Mr. Short. Superintendent, please call the roll.
Yes, Mr. Hoover.
Aye.
Mr. Clark.
Aye.
Mr. Short.
Aye.
Mr. Hui.
Aye.
Ms. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Sharostov.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to special presentations. Do we have any presentations tonight?
We don't have any presentations this evening.
Okay, next we will move to public comment on items not on the agenda. Let's start with Lucy Lopez via proxy for Alyssa Doyle, and then next second we will have. I'm sorry. So Alyssa is not going to speak. So let's just have Lucy Lopez, and then Casey Shingara. You'd be after that. Yeah.
Is she speaking via proxy, so she would have her time as well? Is she giving up time?
Yeah, and that's fine. We'll do 2 minutes per speaker. Lucy, if you're, yeah.
I'm speaking for Lucy, and then I had a separate public comment
Okay.
for myself.
So we can give you, we can give you the 2 minutes for each comment, okay? So we'll do 4. All right.
So for Lucy, she apologizes for not being here today. The last time I spoke for her was because she was working her second job. She couldn't make it here today because she cannot afford extra daycare. She can barely afford the daycare just to make it to work every single day. Today, she would have had to have attended with her 14-year-old, 3-year-old, and a 2-month-old. And that would not be very pleasant for you guys, let alone those in the audience. As many of her coworkers will eventually explain, we are in desperate need of staff. The lack of staff has put us in some very dangerous circumstances. We are forced to toilet some students one-on-one, leaving one of our aides without assistance at times. In fact, She recalls last year alone that one day we had to do this, and one of our coworkers ended up having a seizure later that day and ended up with an injury so bad she is currently out for the rest of probably this year, and she's getting ready to have full hip replacement. Unfortunately, that's how it is. But the added stress of work did not help because that contributed to the seizures. Thankfully, this did not happen while she was one-on-one with any of our kids, but it could have. Because of the cost of living increases, most of us work 2 or even 3 jobs just to pay for our family needs. If you've never spent a day in a classroom with the special needs, especially the severe, please take the time to do so. You will see that the classrooms do not function without its instructional aides. We need the teachers, and the teachers cannot do their jobs without us. You might take for granted being able to pick up a fork and feed yourself, but we sit there and do hand over hand with them all the time. It's a basic function. These students need the assistance with their academics, toileting, and feedings. What we are asking for today is not just for vacations. It's so we don't have to leave the jobs and children we left so much just so we can take care of our own families at home. Thank you, Lucy Lopez. From myself, I do thank you because I did get a full-time teacher this year. And I hope she stays, but she's very much aware of the problems that we're facing. And I want to share with you one of the problems that I see on a day-to-day basis. I'm a one-to-one. That means I have a child that I am with 24/7 while she's at school. She weighs over 150 pounds. My job description says I only have to pick up 50 pounds. That means realistically, I should have 3 to 4 people just to pick her up. If she falls down, that means that no one else is required to have to pick up more than 50 pounds. 50 plus 50 is only 100. That puts us at a possibility of an unsafe probability, and it will happen. It has happened. We don't want this to happen. She's just as much my child as my own child is. I know our physical therapist trusts me and the other aides in the room to do these lifts safely. But some of our options to do this was to pull other aides from other rooms, but they're out classes now. And I want to remind you of your dedicated staff and remember that we're here and we need the fair compensation to stay here. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Casey Shingara and then Stacy Albe after that. We'll go down to 2, yeah.
All right.
Thank
Hello.
you. Welcome.
Hi. Thanks. I'm glad we have a tentative agreement. This is encouraging. I would say, though, we're only partway there. 8% is a start, not the finish line. We're still 9% behind in reclaiming our purchasing power from the year 2000. A couple days ago, we were 17% behind. So we are partway there, which is good, and we should acknowledge that success. But we've narrowed the gap. We haven't closed it. There's still more work to be done. This tentative agreement buys us time to make this right. So how can we accomplish this goal? I have 2 ideas. 1, binding arbitration. If we had binding arbitration as a norm, let's say COLA plus 1% every year, we wouldn't be without a contract annually. We wouldn't flood this room annually. We wouldn't have meetings till 1 a.m. annually. It would save a lot of headache and it would help us get closer to cost of living adjustments as inflation and CPI changes. My other idea is to redistribute the budget and have our budget allocations, match that of the district we lost over 15% of our teachers to. And so we allocate far less of our budget to teacher salaries than those of the competitive neighboring districts. And I do anticipate, as I have heard from colleagues with 8, 10 or more years, we will have a repeat of the teacher exodus that we had this year, next year, if we don't make some serious changes. FCUSD needs to put its money behind the people that they value. So again, this tentative agreement is a good start. We are not done. And then I ask and urge you, extend this same supports and these same contracts to our CSEA brothers and sisters. Truly, legitimately, we cannot do our job without you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Stacy Albe, and then followed by Lori Parker.
Skippity skip, okay. All righty. Does that equal 10 minutes or what is that? Okay. No, mine's real quick. Good evening. Stacy Albe. I'm a teacher at Folsom High School. My son and daughter are students at Rancho Cordova Elementary. Yeah, woohoo! Yeah. Community girl here. I just want to tell the board and the district and FCEA, I appreciate all the work that went into the tentative agreement. I'm asking the board to approve it tonight, please. I look forward to further collaboration with FCUSD in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I don't believe it's on the agenda tonight, but it will be.
No, but it will
the
be
next
next
will be.
meeting.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stacy. Appreciate it. Lori Parker is next, followed by Jade Surace. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that.
Hi, I'm Lori Parker. I am a student records clerk at Mills Middle School, and I have,
Jocelyn Hammerstrom, records clerk at Center Middle School.
and we're also representing Sheila Johnson, and she's at Mitchell, and Carrie Kasparian at Folsom Middle School. And we're your records clerks, your student records clerks. And we work as on a registrar level. We do all the registrar activities, but we're a range 15. So I'm passing that through to show you what the difference is. And it goes through the job duties from 1992 that were our last listed. So we need to update those. And we collaborated on a list and we updated it for really what goes on in the office. And our registrars at the high school level, they'd work very hard too. So we are hoping to reclassify from a student records clerk to a registrar. And that top sheet, I only have one copy, and there's a slight difference in our jobs, going from 12-month to 11-month. And for the registrars in high school, we're only 11. We don't have an assistant clerk that helps us. And plus we work other desks as well. So we have more duties in other ways, and they have more duties in other ways. But all in all, we should be, I think, reclassified as a registrar. Do you guys have any questions for that? Okay. On the back page, it shows the income on a range for the student records clerk. And as for a person with a single income, if you look at mortgage and everything on the back, there's not much left over. So I want you to look at that and really consider the reclassification for student records clerk.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Jade Suris, and then followed by Lupe Treviso Hernandez. All right.
Lady.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jade Sirachi. So it wasn't.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. It's Italian.
Welcome.
It's fine. It is. Just think of Liberace, Sirachi. Okay, so just the cost. I'm going to go over the cost of living for here in California. So the cost of living in California has gone up 42%. It's 42% higher than the average nationwide. Overall, the cost of living ranks as the third highest in the nation, or in the states. In order to just get by in California for a single person, the recommended amount of income is $74,371. That doesn't include a family with a two-person income. Also think about single mothers just getting by to put food on the table. Starting off here, we start off for transportation at $20.14. So at the end of the year, we're making $41,891. This is just assuming we get 40 hours a week, and we're not even 8 hours 8-hour employees. I've been here almost 5 years, so my pay would be $24.49. I'm making $48,980 a year, and I don't make 40 hours and I'm not an 8-hour employee. The average household income in Sacramento is $65,847. The recommended annual income, just to get by, is $57,504, is how much we are living under our recommended cost of living in California alone with our average household incomes. At our transportation office, we've created a food donation. It's becoming scarce. We can't feed our families. We're running out of solutions, so we're making just enough to not get assistance. We don't know what to do at this point. We're going to food pantries. We've used our savings. We're just looking for an equal pay or an average just to meet the medium. So please consider that. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Next, we have Lupe, followed by Faith Kell. Welcome, Lupe.
I shouldn't have to be here today, okay? My name is Lupe Treviso Hernandez. I only know maybe a handful of you all. I know Betty Jo. I know Ed. I know Chris. Because these people communicate with us. I'm from Rancho Cordova. I'm not from the fucking hood. Oh my God, Jesus, I forgot. Okay, I have a potty mouth. God forbid I said the F word. Let me be honest with you. I'm pissed off. I'm angry. I'm scared. I'm afraid because there was an attempted kidnapping at Rancho Cordova Elementary. Why isn't this news? An email went to Rancho Cordova Elementary off of Aramon, on Chisella, a homeless person, homeless camp on our campus. It's allowed. So now they didn't get the memo. The school's started. What the heck? Okay, that's the most verbal word I'm going to use right now because I'm not allowed to curse, but that's in my language. That's how I grew up. I am college educated. I've lived in Rancho Cordova 47 years. I don't need a mic, okay? I am pissed because you all failed us. All of you. Our children, yesterday the memo said, an incident happened in Rancho Cordova Elementary. But if it was in Folsom, it would be an attempted kidnapping. It would be all over the effing news. What the heck? What happened to the school resource officers? What happened to the staff that need to be on campus protecting our children? I'm here to represent Rancho Cordova and all students. Do not time me and do not monitor my time because I'm going to say what I need to say. I'm here for my family. I'm here because I'm pissed. And as superintendent, you should be responsible. Where's the money? Where's the security? Are there any cameras on our campus? Heck no. Why? Are there cameras in Folsom?
Thank you, Lupe.
Answer me. Are there cameras in Folsom?
Yes. Thank you, Lupe.
Are there any cameras in Rancho? Yes. Are there any cameras on Rancho Cordova Elementary?
Lupe.
Listen, Joshua.
I can have the
I know of you.
Follow up with you.
I know of you, but you know what? I need representation. And right now, Ed and Chris are the only representation I have because people are not here. And don't be polite with me because I don't know you.
Thank you, Lupe.
Jesus Christ. Thank you.
Next, we have Faith Kell, followed by Blanca. Welcome, Faith.
Hi, thank you for letting me speak. I'm a grandparent. My name is Faith Kell, and I have grandchildren going to Cordova High School. And last year we had such a beautiful law enforcement presence that I felt great, and I noticed they had a lot of interaction going on with the kids. The kids loved it. And it was happening almost every day, at least 3 days a week. And then I noticed that this year, when I was taking the kids, that they had no law enforcement presence at all. And I had called the school, and they said that, well, they've been pulled and they only check in. So I just wanted to say, encourage you all to maybe put that presence back in place, because I think it's wonderful for the high school students to see that interaction, and to, I know that there's a lot of parents and a lot of grandparents that feel like I do, that we like to see that presence on campus. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Blanca, followed by Justin Hughes. Welcome, Blanca.
Hello, thank you. How long do I have? 2 minutes?
2 minutes.
Okay. I wanted to say that for that comment, you shouldn't be here today. I understand that, but you have to be here. All of us should be here at every board meeting if you can, because that's the issue. Resource officers are removed because we don't even know about it. We're not involved. We're not engaged. So that's kind of, I'm going to lead with that. At middle schools in our district, boys can change in girls' locker rooms and girls can change in the boys' locker rooms. I had no idea this was allowed until this week. Caregivers and staff, I don't know if you guys knew about this, but AB 1266 is the law which allows this to happen. The law is from 2013 from the research that I did. This is an example of what happens when we don't get engaged in state politics, county, city council, and this school board. Right now, there's a law that passed and is waiting to be signed by Governor Newsom. This law is to force school districts to have a COVID testing plan. I think it's just for kids, but maybe for staff as well. Why? Why do we need laws to continue testing for COVID? This will continue to inflict trauma on our kids and the community. Please call to veto this bill. It's not needed. The CDC just stated not that long ago, I think this week or last week, that even positive COVID tests, you just go on about your life. You don't have to quarantine anymore. So what's the point? The phone number to call is 916-445-2841. Tell Governor Newsom to veto this bill. And I forgot to even mention the name of the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Justin Hughes, followed by Patricia Hughes. Welcome, Justin.
Hey, Josh. Hello, everyone. Hope you've had a great summer break, during which a lot has changed on the narrative. The media and government bodies are now slowly admitting what the people have known for over a year on all the mandates. For example, we are streaming on YouTube right now. In January of this year, line 37 of YouTube's rule stated, "You could not claim that COVID-19 vaccines are not effective in preventing the spread of COVID-19. Recently, this was silently removed from YouTube's rules, and I can now say it here today without getting the stream pulled down. Now, I'll state that they may have a minor effect in preventing spread, but the data would say otherwise. So here it goes. The COVID vaccines are not very effective in preventing the spread of COVID. Now, the YouTube rules state you cannot claim that COVID-19 vaccines do not reduce the risk of serious illness or death. Let it be known, that has been our state stance for over a year. We're fine if you personally want to get the vaccine, but it is a lie to state mandating people get it is for public health. You getting it or forcing it on others does not and has never prevented the spread of COVID, as witnessed in January of this year, when we had the highest rate of infection with the highest rate of vaccination in the country. The president and most of his family and staff were vaccinated and boosted and got COVID and spread it. Dr. Fauci has 4 shots and contracted it and spread it. I know many of the people watching and in this room who are in favor of mandates got COVID and spread it. So the CDC is now on board with this. The tech oligarchs are on board with this. But for some reason, the government is still planning mandates for kids when they are predominantly naturally immune, and getting the COVID vaccine won't stop them from contracting or spreading COVID. Now that our tech overlords have allowed it, I'll say it again. The COVID-19 vaccines are not very effective in preventing the spread of COVID-19. These mandates will do nothing but divide us and place unnecessary risks upon children. I beg you to fight legislation such as SB 866. Then you too will feel the joy we feel of total vindication. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you. Thank you, Justin. Patricia Hughes is next, followed by Jocelyn Hammerstrom. Did you want to, is that, okay. Sorry, I put you later. Okay. Welcome, Patricia.
Thank you. Hello again. My name is Patricia, and I'm an educator at a local preschool. As an educator, it is my job and obligation to protect the children, and I wanted to inform you on the COVID updates from the CDC. As reported by ABC News and NPR, the CDC updates state, those exposed to the virus are no longer required to quarantine. Unvaccinated people now have the same guidance as vaccinated people. Students can stay in class after being exposed to the virus, and it's no longer recommended to screen those without symptoms. Per these new guidelines, the fact that our children have a 99.997% survival rate, it's time to update the district's COVID-19 safety plan. The latest update was on July 5th of 2022. The updates from the CDC are from August of 2022, and many, if not all of these recommendations need to be taken into consideration. On page 17, under the Training and Instruction section, I specifically states vaccination is effective at preventing COVID-19, protecting against both transmission and serious illness or death. This section clearly needs to be updated because according to the CDC, it states vaccines reduce the risk of COVID-19, including the risk of severe illness and death among people who are fully vaccinated. All FDA-approved or authorized COVID-19 vaccines provide substantial protection against COVID-19 hospitalization and death. Nowhere does the CDC give credence to vaccines protecting against infection or transmission, because we all know now that simply isn't the case. Therefore, you should not be providing false information, but educate the staff that the vaccine does not prevent one from getting it or spreading it, but solely helps prevent severe illness or death. With all this said, schools should not force parents to have to comply with any medical-related decisions, including testing and vaccinations, in order to attend school. With the increased rate of absenteeism for children attending school, we should be doing all that we can to promote attendance and not the opposite. I'd like to leave you with this. Ephesians 4:32, be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another as God in Christ forgave you. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Patricia. Jocelyn, and then we're going to have Dominic Welko. And sorry, Jocelyn, I didn't see, I misordered these.
That's okay. I just
Welcome back.
There's 4 of us in the district. In middle school, we do the same job as the registrars at the high school. And all we're asking for is to be compensated the same amount as the high school registrars. We work hard, we're in the office. I actually do healthcare when our nurse is gone 3 days a week now. We only have a 3-hour health assistant, which means the rest of us in the office are pitching in with health concerns, bleeding, barfing, all sorts of stuff. So we do a lot more, and we really need to increase our pay and give us that registrar position. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, sorry. Dominic Welko. Welcome, Dominic.
Thank you. Am I allowed to talk about something on consent agenda in public participation?
There will be time for that once it comes up.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So I'll just stick it. I was going to talk about this when we talked about the new Pacific School petition. It was pulled, so I want to talk about it now. Last week, several residents of Sacramento County filed a quo warrantino with the Attorney General seeking permission to file a lawsuit against the chief petitioner in the new Pacific School petition based on an Attorney General opinion from November 2021. That's opinion number 2102, which asserted that the lead petitioner as the executive director of Pacific Charter Institute and the elected board member of the Sacramento County Office of Education holds incompatible offices under Gov Code 1099 and Ed Code 1006 extends this incompatible offices doctrine to employees in school districts who also sit on a school board. The existing AG opinion and the proposed lawsuit call into question the proposed governance structure and qualifications of employees of Pacific Charter Institute. And again, the Charter School Act requires that a petition describe a governance structure. The implication there is that it is a legal governance structure, and it also requires that a petition include adequate qualifications of employees, which both under the Attorney General's opinion and we'll see what happens with the lawsuit, those items in the petition are of serious question. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving to reports of district
I
organizations.
think we might have a virtual comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do we have anyone online?
Hi, Mr. Hoover. Yes, we have Raja. Raja, can you unmute, please?
Hi, this is Viraja Malayala, and I'm first time attending this meeting. My son goes to Folsom Middle School, and one of the things I wanted to bring up to board's attention is the transportation related issue. We moved into the Folsom Ranch area last year. Of course, there is a lot of non-availability of drivers, and the buses were not there. So we dealt with it last year, but this year the problems have been a lot more different. I would try to broadly put it in 3 different bins, like chaotic, lack of planning, and communication are the 3 bins. I'll explain a little bit. I'll take the 2 minutes and I'll close it out. So chaotic because last year itself, the department knows that there are a lot of students that are going to be joining the middle school and there will be huge demand. And today, 3 buses have been allotted. Couple of buses take 40 minutes to take the students to the school, while 1 bus takes almost 1 hour, 25 minutes, one side drive to the school. So the round trip is like 3.5 hours. And the way it is scattered is 2 buses cater to the north side of Mangini Ranch, while 1 bus caters to the south side of Mangini Ranch. And the second item where I said lack of planning. So the Folsom Ranch itself is a sprawling area. So you have 1 stop on a 3-mile lane is like pretty painful. So the kids walking to the bus stop from the deepest corner of Folsom Ranch needs to walk like 1.1 to 1.5 miles just to board the bus, and then take like 1 hour, 25 minutes commute to the school. The third one is the communication. So no one knows, when we are going to hear, or even the kids are going to hear what bus to board. The department has not set a protocol. So the drivers.
Thank you. If we can get his information, I don't know if we can follow up with him.
We're following
about
up with
those.
him.
Okay,
Yes,
perfect. Thank you, Superintendent. Do we have any other online comments?
Yes, we have a few more, Mr. Hoover. Next,
Okay.
we have Mary.
Okay, Mary, welcome.
We lost her, so I'm going to go to Debbie.
Debbie, welcome.
Oh, sorry. Oh, this is Mary. Never mind.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Mary. Go ahead.
Welcome, Mary.
I think we lost her again. Debbie, can you go ahead?
Hi, this is Debbie Krikorian with FCEA. I'm just here tonight to thank the board for supporting and working with the staff and with us at FCEA to come to an agreement. I really thank you for the hard work and for the extra meetings. I know we've worked all summer for this, so I'm very much appreciative. I'm hoping as we go forward, as other speakers have talked about, that we look at the amount of people and look at our percentage and what we're investing and make that a priority as we go forward. There seems to be a lot of concerns that have been spoken up, and we need to continue to do that. I also want to just mention that Yuba City had the same petition for the charter school pretty much that we did, with same signatures for principal, and 3 of the teachers were the same. So as you go forward next week and or the next meeting and looking at that charter school, Pacific Charter School, I would ask, how people can be in two places at once. I also wanted to inform the board that Marysville School Board voted down 5-0 to not approve the charter school Pacific Institute because the plan was to have it on a busy street, just like they proposed with us originally. And they weren't in the community, living in the community and working with the community in order to have representation, and the board acknowledged that. So just want to put that out there and thank you, and hope everybody has a good weekend.
Thank you, Debbie. Next commenter.
Next, we have Sarah.
Welcome, Sarah.
Welcome. Good evening, Dr. Kaligian, board, staff, and everybody in attendance. My intent to speak tonight is twofold. One, as a product of Folsom Cordova, and two, as an employee. As a product of this district, I've had some of the most amazing and wonderful teachers who have made me who I am as a person and a teacher. I wanted to give a shout out to them, and this is not all of them, but just some of them who have helped get me here. First, my first grade teacher, Linda Shearer, who taught me how to read. One of my third grade teachers, Julie Nittler, who gave me my love of nature and science, which I now love to share with my students in my classroom. Susan Kingsbury taught me to research and to put my thoughts onto paper. And Tony Ruiz, you have taught me you have taught me how powerful relationships can be, and to quote him, and on a lot of my high school papers, show, not tell. So that being said, board, I'm asking that of you. Remember that 8% is a COLA, not a raise. The second part, being a teacher in the district, I've talked about music for so many times in so many meetings. Another shout out to Mindy and her team for putting those videos together last year. My students love them. We are doing them again this year. And thank you, Kevin Sims, for reviving that love of music, and shout out to the Big Red Music Machine. Thank you.
Thank you. Next commenter.
Next, we have Bazoo.
Welcome.
Hi, good evening. I'm Basu. I moved into Folsom area just because of the school ratings, the Folsom Cordova school ratings and everything. But I have a complaint about this, the transportation. It's causing my son anxiety because he's now scared to get onto the bus because he's been bumped off into the bus, on and off into different buses. And the transportation department is not taking this matter in a right direction. They didn't account for the number of kids. So initially, the first day, kids had to sit on the floor in the bus and come home. And then they just randomly picked some kids and said, you're going on to another bus. And that bus is taking about 1.5 hours to travel. So you don't want the kids to start a day like that, because if your kid is already tired to get to the school, what would he do in the school? And in the evening, he's so tensed, he doesn't know which bus to get into. And in the evening, it also takes about 1.5 hours. So I call them, they don't give me a right response. They say I need to talk to the director, and the director doesn't pick up the phone. I left like 4 voice messages just yesterday to the director, and there is no response. And I don't know what the director is doing, if he's busy or whatever, but my whole perception about Folsom Cordova district is now I'm not feeling it right, because the whole reason we moved here is because of the school district. And now if my son is not feeling nice to go to the school in the bus, this is not helping out. So I think the transportation department needs to take this seriously.
Thank you. And Superintendent, if we're working with them as well, that'd be great. Thank you for sharing that. Next commenter.
Next, we have Mary.
Mary, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Sorry about that earlier. My name is Mary Johnson. I'm a teacher at Folsom High School. I wanted to thank you, board members, for being reasonable and supporting the tentative agreement with the teachers union. I think it's a really needed start in making sure a district isn't quite as far behind other districts in relation to pay. I appreciate it was a difficult decision for you all to make, seeing as how a big part of your jobs is ensuring that the district is fiscally responsible and is using its resources for the maximum benefit of our students. I hope that in considering petitions for charter schools, you are equally cautious and thoughtful about the ramifications that can occur if you do approve them. While definitely some charter schools can serve certain students very well, it is a reality that their presence will mean less in funding for our district. With so much concern around the budget, I urge you to think about impacts that may occur. Some would argue that students leaving won't really be taking money away from FCUSD because then we won't have costs associated with serving that student, like paying for their teacher. But regardless of student numbers, many of the fixed costs of running a school district are the same, whether it be the administration, building maintenance, or other background costs that will then need to be absorbed using remaining per student funding. As always, I appreciate your dedication to serving our community and for being willing to listen. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more online?
No, Mr. Hoover.
Okay, let's move to reports to district organization, student advisory board.
We have no report tonight, except that our first meeting will be September 7th at Cordova Lane Center.
Thank you. California School Employees Association. Welcome, Rob.
Thank you. Good evening, board members and Dr. Kaligian. Congratulations to FCEA and the district on reaching agreement on compensation and an increase to the medical cap. And thank you to our CSEA members here tonight for showing up and letting you know that we want our raise too. So thank you. Good job. So we're getting together on Wednesday, and we're very hopeful that we can reach agreement as well. And so please support us in that effort. Regarding the Design Tech High School MOU, you have evidence that the MOU will not be enforceable. So please have Design Tech include these conditions in an amended petition. That will make Design Tech accountable to perform to these standards and avoid potential legal costs to enforce their performance. Regarding the New Pacific Charter School petition, your administrators are asking you to deny, your educators are asking you to deny, your classified staff are asking you to deny. The Rancho community does not support this charter. There's ample evidence that New Pacific Charter School does not bring anything to our students that they aren't already provided by us. New Pacific is unproven and is not an exceptional school. Bottom line, show your faith in Team FCUSD. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Folsom Cordova Education Association. Welcome, Angelica.
Good evening, board members and Dr. Kaligian. On behalf of our membership and myself, thank you for your partnership in working with the district and helping us reach our tentative agreement. I appreciate the efforts of Mr. Ogden and the district's team working with us countless hours, and my gratitude goes to our FCEA bargaining team for steadfastly representing our employees always. The commitment you made shows you value our educators. They are starting to feel respected, and they're feeling like their voices were truly heard, speaking up repeatedly at meetings. We wish our CSEA colleagues the best of luck in their negotiations next week and hope that they also reach the settlement that they so richly deserve. I'm going to say a couple of words too about the charter schools as well, and try not to repeat what's been said. I think I'll start with NPI. With regards to NPI, a lot has been said, and I appreciate Mr. Gualco going through what had happened with the lawsuit, because I think that's a really important point. And I echo Mr. Thomas's concerns as well as far as what they bring to the table versus what we can provide. Looking at Design Tech, one of our big concerns with that, just to start with, is the Charter Schools Act The fact that the board conditionally approved the application, the petition, the Charter Schools Act does not allow for conditional approval of a charter school petition or renewal, whether such approval is provided concurrently with the unilateral imposition of conditions for operation of the school, or approval is deemed effective after such conditions have been met. There is ed code around that as well, that essentially if they don't put it in the petition should be denied. As Mr. Thomas said, the MOU can't be enforced, so we would encourage you to have them put the conditions that you require into the petition to consider it. Just in closing, along that same vein, you've shown that you value our teachers. Please show that same commitment to our students and the outstanding programs we have in FCUSD. We developed the Montessori program and the Riverview STEM program, speaking too fast, out of need. We saw that there were charters that wanted to come in to provide those things, and our superintendent at the time said, wait a minute, we can do that. And we have, and we've done it successfully. Through COVID, we enriched our dependent charter program. We developed the Innovations Academy, and I just ask that you honor the investment that you've made in our own charter school, innovations, and our own programs, and allow our district to continue building upon our excellent programs that best serve the community that we are dedicated to. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Folsom Cordova Leadership Association. Welcome.
Good evening, Vice President Hoover, Dr. Kaligian, and members of the board. FCLA is a charter for Region 3 of the Association of California School Administrators, also known as ACSA. ACSA offers a variety of professional development opportunities for members, and tonight I'd like to highlight one. Beginning this weekend, Don Ogden and FCUSD will be hosting a Personnel Academy, which will offer 70 hours of training over the next 7 months on Friday evenings and all day on Saturdays, focused on all things personnel. Among the participants in this academy are 7 of our very own FCUSD employees. We look forward to watching them grow and hearing about their new learnings. That's what I want to highlight tonight. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. District English Learner Advisory Committee. Welcome.
There is no report tonight.
Thank you.
Stay tuned.
Had to walk all that way. I'm sorry. All right, moving on. Agenda consent.
Vice President?
Yes, Mr. Short.
I'd like to pull item I with the memorandum of understanding.
Okay, we got a motion to pull item I by Mr. Short. Do I have a second?
I will second.
Okay. Let's take a roll call vote on that.
Mr. Hoover?
Aye.
Mr. Clark?
Aye.
Mr. Short?
Aye.
Mr. Hui?
Aye.
Ms. Perez?
Aye.
Ms. Sharasta?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
All right, do we have a motion to pass the consent agenda without item I?
I'll move it.
All right, got a first from Mr. Short, second from Mr. Clark. Superintendent, please call the roll.
Mr. Hoover?
Aye.
Mr. Clark?
Aye.
Mr. Short?
Aye.
Mr. Hui?
Aye.
Ms. Perez?
Aye.
Ms. Sharasta? Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, we will now move to item XI, Superintendent.
Yes, this item is the Memorandum of Understanding between Folsom Cordova and Design Tech High School, Rancho Cordova. The petition was approved by the board at a previous meeting, and the Memorandum of Understanding responds to the 8 conditions that the board asked that the petitioner have in place before going to the next step in the process. So I'll entertain any questions that Mr. Short may have, or
Thank
any
you.
of the
Yeah,
board.
any questions from the board? Mr.
Mr. Vice President.
Clark.
Yeah, I would like to, is there any possible way we can list those 8 conditions right now, just so we can take a look at them?
Yes, and Ms. Wessinger, do you want to call the attention on the MOU? They're actually in the MOU, and maybe we can bring that up. Yes.
It'll be easier to not have to hold the
Starting on
microphone.
page 2.
Starting on page 2, under conditions of approval, is A, lottery preference. The charter school shall revise its petition to include an admissions preference for students residing in Rancho Cordova no later than 30 days following the execution of this agreement.
B, facility. The charter school shall revise its petition to specify a physical address for where the charter school intends to locate its sole facility. If such will be a private facility, no later than 120 days following the execution of this agreement. The parties agree that this timeline does not apply to the Proposition 39 facilities request process should the charter school seek to locate in district facilities.
One moment. Mr. Clerk, did you want to read through all these, or did you have questions about a specific, or is she?
No, read through all of them,
Okay.
please.
Thank you. C, CASP testing. Charter schools shall maintain similar or higher CASP scores as Cordova High School for the duration of the charter term as defined in this paragraph. If the charter school's school-wide English language arts or math CASP scores fall 5% below Cordova High School's school-wide ELA and math CASP scores, respectively, in any given school year during the charter term, the charter school shall develop and provide district staff with a remedial plan for increasing CASP scores within 30 days. The CASP scores are made available. Special part number D, or letter D, special education and related services. No later than 30 days following the execution of this agreement, charter schools shall develop a specific plan and revision to the petition that will describe in which special education local plan area, or SELPA, the charter school will seek membership. The charter school shall notify the district not later than 5 days from the date the charter school executes the SELPA agreement or receives confirmation of membership. The charter school shall provide a copy of the SELPA agreement, if any, to the district no later than 60 days after the execution of the SELPA agreement. If the charter school is not accepted as an LEA member of a SELPA, the parties will enter into a separate and distinct special education MOU within 60 days of denial of such membership. In addition to the terms thereof, the following terms govern the provision of special education related services to charter school students, of which there are 4 conditions under this section, which I will read. Compliance with applicable law. All children will have access to the charter school, and no student shall be denied admission due to disability. The charter school shall be solely responsible for compliance with Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 and the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990. The parties further agree to implement and comply with the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act as specified in the Special Education MOU. 2, student study team. The charter school agrees to implement a student study team SST process, a general education function that develops strategies for students in the general education classroom. The SST shall develop and monitor implementation of Section 504 plans for eligible students as appropriate. 3, English learners. The charter school will annually administer the English language proficiency assessments for California. Pardon me, council provided this, but we changed this to the correct test. The charter school will be responsible for all components necessary to comply with the state and federal testing and reporting. Oh, that is the correct test, isn't it? Okay. Too many tests. Okay, for funding. If through the revision to the petition, the charter school is deemed a public school of the district, the charter school shall participate in state and federal funding in the same manner as the district pursuant to Education Code Section 47646, Subdivision A. The district shall retain all state and federal special education funding allocated for charter school students through the district special education local plan area SELPA. The district shall be solely responsible as necessary to contract and pay for any special education services except as otherwise agreed between the parties. 5, addresses the encroachment contribution. If the charter school is deemed a public school of the district, the charter school shall pay the district a pro rata share of the district's unfunded special education costs, encroachment, at the end of each fiscal year, June 30th. The district shall calculate the charter school's pro rata share of the district's encroachment for that year as calculated by the total unfunded special education costs of the district, including those costs attributable to the charter school, divided by the total number of district enrollment, including charter school students, and multiplied by the total number of charter school enrollment. Charter school enrollment should include all students regardless of home district. The charter school's pro rata share does not include district-wide special education legal fees incurred. The charter school shall reimburse the district for legal fees incurred for special education services for students attending the charter school. Such fees shall be specifically enumerated and clearly documented on an individual student basis by the district.
Okay, Betty Jo. The last one I want you to read is the district representative.
District representative, which falls under E on page 4. Pursuant to the Education Code Section 47604, the district has the option to exercise its authority to have one representative of its choosing to serve on the nonprofit board of trustees. The nonprofit shall amend its bylaws if necessary, no later than 90 days following the execution of this agreement, to include one district representative member. Should the district exercise the option to have a representative sit on the nonprofit board of trustees, such representation shall not supersede the district board's oversight responsibilities.
Okay, that's the point I wanted to get to, all that. And
Okay.
other than that, we're good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions, Mr. Clerk?
No, I have comments, but
Okay.
no questions.
Mr. Short?
Yeah, I have a few comments. What is the difference between a revision and amendment to a petition?
As I understand an amendment to the petition, it has to come back for board approval.
Right.
Is that correct?
So revisions are not. They're just done ministerially. Is that correct?
Would you like to ask our legal counsel or?
Well, yeah, I'm asking questions. Yeah.
So if your question is amendment and revision, those can be synonymous. The way we have formulated the MOU is stating that they are required to amend their petition, which is a revision for purposes of this is synonymous. It doesn't require board approval to come back because the board, if they execute this, is saying they're already giving approval for that. Down the line, should the charter school want to amend or revise their petition, I'm using those synonymously, either one of those would require board action.
So technically, if it doesn't go back to the board, it's a revision. If it's not enforceable, then if they decide not to do a revision, then how is it enforceable if it's not an amendment?
I'm going to just clarify that I'm using revision and amendment synonymously
I know. I do
here.
a lot of amendments to contracts, and revisions they're distinctly different. Yes, they don't go to the board.
So are you asking whether the charter petition, if they revise that and it doesn't go back to the board?
Yes.
Because via this MOU, you're requiring them to do that. And so you are already essentially requiring them, and that's the board's authority and approval to make them do that.
But the question is not enforceable.
It would be enforceable. Any revisions that they make via the board directing them to would be enforceable.
It's a direction, but not approved by the board. Okay.
I would
Thank you.
argue
That's
it's
that. I just wanted to know. Thank you. The other one is because we have the all these revisions in here and all these things. The one particular one I'm concerned is the district representative. The question is, it doesn't state how often do they meet and do they meet locally in the community. It seems to be wide open. What I've heard that they don't meet locally, they meet virtually once a year. There's no frequency of the representative. Why is it just wide open like that?
I can't speak to how often they meet, and I'll defer to staff on that. I will just note that they are required to comply with the Brown Act. There's also certain requirements for them in which where they're supposed to hold their board meetings. If there is a nonprofit that operates multiple charter schools, they are required to hold their board meeting in the county in which the most students attend. So for example, if the most students at the charter schools attended this charter school, they would be required to hold their board meetings here. I don't think that will be the case just based on their enrollment numbers. But just want to clarify, they are required to comply with the Brown Act, and there are specific requirements in the Education Code and the Charter Schools Act regarding when and where they have to hold their board meetings.
So my next question falls under the emergency order of the governor. We're able to do Zoom in meetings like that. When that rescinds or sunset, would they have to physically meet here in the district in our community?
So
For the
again,
Browns Act.
they would not be required to if the majority of their students are in a charter school in a different county. So the education code explicitly says that they are required to meet in the county in which the majority of their students are. If you have a
So it
nonprofit,
could be in the Bay Area. Okay.
and they have to have a, and I'm going to mess up the technical term, but they do have to have accessibility at a location within the county, but they don't have to have their entire board within this
So
county.
somebody from this community will have to drive all the way to the Bay Area to attend the meeting. Okay, thank you.
Actually, for the board meeting, they do, but the school, the Design Tech High School will have a community, they will have their own local committee that will include student and parent representation. That does not.
Or a
fall under the
committee, but
board
not
act,
the
they will
board
have a
meeting, but
committee.
that's different.
That's
Okay,
correct.
thank you.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Huey? Okay, public comment. Any public comment on this item? Anything on Dominic? Come on up, welcome.
Sorry, I'm reading from my home. I didn't have time to go to the office today to print this out.
Okay.
I'm just going to read from a letter from the California Charter School Association. I'm really not cherry picking my sources here. Nothing in the Act permits a charter authorizer to require that additional elements be addressed either in the charter or some external agreement, or to impose local policies or state laws that are otherwise inapplicable to charter schools. The Act is also clear that a charter authorizer must either approve a petition or adopt written findings of fact denying the renewal based on one of the enumerated grounds for denial within 60 days of receipt. This is from a letter sent to the Santa Clara County Office of Education. In short, there's no statutory basis for a conditional approval. So while there is a precedent, like you asked about last time, there's no statutory muscle behind a conditional approval. It hasn't actually really been tested on whether it is enforceable. So are you going to be the school district that tests that if need be? And if, frankly, if the response to that is, well, we're not going to need to test it, well, what's the point of the MOU in the first place? I don't understand that. Finally, the California Charter School Association asserts that terms of an MOU or addendum should never prevail over the terms of a charter, which is a document that is both established and governed by statute. In short, the California Charter School Association itself argues that a conditional MOU for conditional approval is not enforceable because there's no basis for it in the Charter School Act. We're talking about a charter school that couldn't bring any members of the community out in support of its petition, and how much money is going to be spent on legal fees drafting this MOU, enforcing it, following up on it, that should actually be invested closer to students in the classroom. I don't understand the reasoning behind this.
Thank you, Dominic. Do we have anyone online?
No, Mr. Hoover.
All right, any board comments? Mr. Short.
You go ahead. Oh, okay.
Mr. Clark.
All right, so here we go. I'm concerned about a lot of things, especially
We've already moved on to board comments. I'm sorry.
Who?
No, let her speak.
Who submitted?
If there's, are you trying to comment on this item?
On the union, okay? Is that okay?
Right, on the charter school, the item we're discussing?
Sweetheart, I usually speak out of turn because I don't follow the agenda. I'm diabetic. I had to eat, and I need to say a few words about the union, okay? Is that all right?
Mr. Vice President, I think it'd be a good idea to have Lupe come up.
Let me just see the comment card real quick, if you may.
I just need to voice my opinion.
It's only 2 minutes.
That's all it is.
Yep, please come to the microphone.
Come on.
Thank you.
I like taking up as much time as I can because I'm here, and then I'm going to go home, okay? So bear with me. The union should not be fighting. These folks should not be fighting for what they're entitled to receive as employees. I have seen administration balloon and overpay themselves only because they can. I have seen superintendents march into the school district. We had Dr. Gonzalez years ago that got a position as a superintendent. The first thing she did was remodel her office with leather furniture, new paneling, all this stuff all along while she had a fancy salary. And this is where the money goes, to different places, and it's disproportionate, okay? It's disproportionate in terms of between the haves and the have-nots. And what I'd like to express, and if you're paying attention, is that the employees have given their sweat and their equity of life and breath. And you all should be ashamed of nickel and diming these folks because they're not getting what they're entitled to as an employee. I'm ashamed to understand or hear and know that they're having to go to food banks and have a different jobs. I'm disgusted, I'm ashamed, and you should be too. How dare you make these people go to food banks, scrounge, go to wherever it is, depend on their family to support themselves. This is not my first rodeo. I've been involved with the school district since 1981. Do not dismiss me, do not shush me, because I've been around and I know you guys are replaceable because it's an election year, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Lupe. All right, Mr. Clark, your comments.
Thanks. First of all, thank you, Lupe, for those comments. Appreciate you. So here we go. With this whole charter thing and my concerns and, of course, my what ifs that I like to throw out there on occasion. Yeah, this Charter Schools Act, it doesn't allow for the conditional approval, so we can put all that we want into this MOU. Honestly, my feeling is they don't really have to follow it. I mean, let's just be real. I mean, I'm going to keep it 100. They don't really have to follow it. I don't care if it's in an MOU or not, and I think they probably knew that when we decided to do this conditional thing, and I purposely had Betty Jo, and my apologies for having you read all this, on a few things, because they were talking about the 30 days. We'll have this done in 30 days. We'll have this done in 90 days. We have 120 days. My what if is, what if they don't have it done? Can we go back and say, well, okay, we change our mind? I mean, how do we really, really enforce this thing? And that's my question. I mean, because obviously it was voted on 3-2 that we approved this thing, but now we have conditions that really aren't conditions because under the Charter School Act, it's really, doesn't allow for conditional approval. So not saying that you won't get it done. I'm just saying, what if you don't get it done? And my other question is, what if you can't get it done in time? Do you ask for an extension? Or maybe you don't need to ask for an extension because it's not a condition of approval anyway, right? So that's what my curiosity is on this. With this conditional approval and this MOU and all these things, is it really enforceable? And nobody's going to answer that, so that's okay. My other thing is, the last meeting that we had, we discussed this, and, we want to focus on our Rancho Cordova schools, and I challenged the board, and I don't think I got an answer on this. Back in January, we had our special meeting, special session, whatever you want to call it, and we said, how can we, improve our Rancho Cordova schools? And I'm pretty sure folks remember that. Then in June, we had the same meeting. How can we improve our Rancho Cordova schools? Well, I'll tell you what, adding these charters is not improving our Rancho Cordova schools. It's going to hurt our Rancho Cordova schools. I don't care what's in this MOU about so many days to add addendums to or whatever it is for special ed or, the lottery and stuff. Again, is it enforceable? So that's a question need to be asked. And I entertain the board to respond to what did we really do in January? What did we really do in June? Did we talk about improving Rancho schools or did we just said, they're not important? we'll bring some charters in. So I open the floor to the board for their comments. Appreciate it, Mr. Vice President.
Mr. Short?
Thank you, Vice President Hoover. Yeah, I just want to put this in kind of a real simple terms. A lot of folks probably own a home and you want to go hire services and you want to hire a contractor. You want to outsource your services. So contractor comes in, says, okay, I'm going to do these scope of services. Okay, right. So they get a contract together. Oh, by the way, they start doing the work and revisions start coming in, which is what we call, scope creep, or other things start changing. So it's a hypothetical scope when they originally bid it. And so then what really happens at the end of the story? You're going to end up paying more. You're not going to get what you want at the end of the day. You're going to feel like you got, not the right scope or the right anything you're doing. So it's hypothetical. So with the petition, we're under the understanding when we approved this, the board did, that the conditions would be enforceable. Well, now we've come to light that the Charter Act doesn't really have it. It's a gray area or it's silent. Well, a lot of legal terms, when it's silent in code and law, we can challenge it, but this has never been challenged. There's no case law on it. There's nothing like that. For a legal agreement requires a prior performance of another agreement or clause in order to be enforceable. So we write all these conditions with kick the can down the road with, hey, it might happen someday. That's just kicking the can down. Those are not conditional approvals. Those are hypotheticals. We're doing revisions. We're not doing amendments that come back to the board. So in essence, we don't know what we have. And a lot of times, just like with my analogy of the contractor with the home, there's a lot of things unforeseeable. There's a lot of things that are outside your control, and sometimes the charter may not be able to control a lot of this stuff. Why didn't it happen in the petition in the first place? Because they didn't have the ability to do it in the first place. So we're creating these hypotheticals. So at this point, I am very unclear that there's no amendment or any petition to incorporate this to make it enforceable. If you're the contract home, you want to have a contract that's enforceable so that you can protect your family, you can protect your home, and protect your budget, and protect everything that your expectations are in that contract. There's no binding, there's no statutes, there isn't anything here. So at this point, I'm very confused what we're even doing this in the first place, when it's simply, all these revisions just look like a whole new petition that could have just been easily amended in there and put in there. So that's all I have right now. Thank you.
Mr. Hui.
Yeah, I mean, there does seem to be some confusion about what's enforceable or not. If you're okay with it, Vice President, I'd love to ask Dr. Kaligian if she can explain whether or not this is enforceable. I mean, I'm under the understanding from what we've heard in closing on open session that it actually is enforceable. So I would like to.
Sure, go, please
Yes.
ask.
Can you bring up page 2, please, Ms. Dagnall? And let's look at section 4. Conditions of approval, and I will read some of this. The charter school agrees to satisfy each of the conditions for approval. If the conditions set forth in sections 4A, 4B, 4D through G are not met by the dates set therein and to the satisfaction of the board through its representative, the superintendent, the petition shall not be forwarded to the State Board of Education to obtain a charter school number, and the district superintendent shall not sign any application to obtain a charter school number or funding. If a condition is met within a reasonable time after its deadline, it will be still be deemed to have met, such that the superintendent will move forward with charter numbering. For example, if the bylaws are amended 100 days after execution of the agreement instead of the 90 contemplated in paragraph 4E, the district superintendent will not refuse to submit charter numbering documents. If the charter school fails to meet any of the conditions set forth in sections 4A through 4H, the petition shall be deemed denied and the conditional approval of the petition shall be deemed void. So that is the enforcement piece that we as the district through this MOU have in the process. And I agree, this is new territory for all of us. And, there is going to be extra work on our end to make sure that the petitioner follows up. And I've had a conversation with Dr. Montgomery, and, I'm going to be optimistic at this point and believe that they are going to come through with the timelines that are on here. But there is a contingency, that we hold that final decision if things are not met within the timelines as Ms. Wessinger read in those 8 conditions. So that is the level of leverage that we have as a district through this agreement or this MOU.
Is that binding and legally? Can our council talk about this?
Well, Mr. Hui, did you have any other questions, or was that
I'd like to hear the answer.
I'd like to hear it from the council.
Good evening. I will preface my statement by acknowledging that it's not my preference to give legal advice in open session, but I will note this is a contract, this is an agreement. We have 2 parties signing and executing the contract, and so based on that, as legal counsel, I'd say this is an enforceable agreement.
I think to maybe clarify the issue a little better, so that the public can kind of get a full sense of what this clause means, does a charter school require a charter school number to receive funding and operate under state law?
Yes, so the way this particular provision was written is essentially before a new charter school can operate, they have to apply with the CDE for a charter school number as well as a CDS code. And so what the provision here states is that to the extent any of these conditions are not satisfied to the board's satisfaction, the superintendent will not sign off on that request to get a charter school number packaging, which means the charter school would not be considered an operating and functioning charter school under the CDE.
So just to clarify, our superintendent has that authority after checking to make sure that all these conditions are met under this MOU to either sign or not sign that document.
Yep,
correct?
And that's going to be the second to last sentence in that first big paragraph.
Thank you.
Mr. Vice Chair, I have a question.
Yeah.
If that charter number is going, sounds like reasonable time after deadline. Why don't they go 6 months? Don't they need the money right away to operate? I mean, we got this kicking the can down. How far can they go without a number?
And that's why it says reasonable. For example, 6 months would probably be interpreted as not reasonable.
That's not reasonable,
They
right.
are set to open in 2023, so it would need to be accomplished, in sufficient time for them to operate and open as
Yeah, it's not prescriptive, and it seems like it's kind of nebulous. Okay, thank you.
All right, any other comments?
Yeah, I have a comment, Mr.
Yes.
Hoover. I just want to say I fundamentally disagree with Design Tech High School and the resources that it's deflecting from our students in Rancho Cordova. And I think even if the conditions in the MOU are adhered to, there's still an underlying problem there. I think it's far more important that we improve our Rancho schools in a community-based way rather than bring in folks from outside of our district who don't understand our community and its dynamic. And I think that those resources are far better spent within the community and with the students and the teachers who come from the community itself. So that's it. Thanks.
All right.
Just to explain a little bit more, what happens after the timeline? Is that reasonable time after the timeline? What happens? Yes. And why can't we just amend the petition?
So if your question is what happens if they don't complete and satisfy all these conditions within a reasonable time?
Yeah, what happens after the deadlines?
Then the district can exercise its option not to forward and sign off on the charter school packaging.
What we deem reasonable time. Okay, so why can't we just amend the petition?
I will just note that this does actually require them to amend the petition in certain
Yeah, but I mean now. Why kick the can 6 months now? Yeah, is it doable? Why don't we do it now?
I would say that's probably not a legal counsel question. It's
Okay,
a question
it's more
of
for
whether
us
or not
to
it's-
say. Okay, thank you.
Any other comments?
Yes, I'd like to make a comment.
All right.
I believe that as a Rancho Cordova citizen and a Cordova High School student, I believe that charter schools do suspend children with disabilities at a higher rate than like public schools. And I believe that with approving charter schools in Rancho Cordova, that they will increase cases of inadequacy that due to like lack of resources and insensitivity while pulling away from our schools. So there should be critical investment at Cordova High School as well as Kinney High School.
Okay, thank you. With that, I guess my comments would be that, we are not voting to approve the charter school tonight. We're voting on the MOU. And so, these were conditions that we placed on the approval. These were not conditions that, this is basically what our board told the charter school to agree to. And so we're certainly not going to relitigate the conceptual approval of design tech tonight. I do think that based on the concerns raised in the staff report and the concerns raised when we discussed this and voted on approval previously, the goal of this MOU is to ensure that, we obviously meet and address some of those concerns. And so I just want to make sure, we know what the focus is tonight, what we're voting on here. It's not on approving the charter school, it's on assuring that certain conditions are met. And I think that our legal counsel has made it pretty clear that all of these conditions need to be met and the petition needs to be revised or amended prior to our district signing off on that charter school number, which I know that our superintendent and our staff is going to keep a very close eye on. At the end of the day, we get final sign off. So with that, do we have a motion to approve the MOU?
I'll move that we approve the MOU.
Do we have a second? I will second. Superintendent, can you please call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Hoover,
Aye.
Mr. Clark,
The board did not answer my question, so that would be a no.
Mr. Short,
No.
Mr. Hui,
Aye.
Ms. Perez,
No.
Ms. Sharostov.
No.
Okay. It's a tied vote with 2 for the MOU support and 2 opposed to it. And my understanding is that that is no action when we have a tied vote. Therefore, for this to move forward, the board would have to bring it back to a future meeting when there is a full board, and they would renew the prior motion versus reconsider the prior motion, is my understanding from our legal counsel.
Yes, I would say let's bring this to the next board meeting when we have a full board.
Okay.
All right, moving on. To public hearing,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Before we move on,
Yes.
may I make an introduction from the personnel
Yes,
report that the board approved the rest of the items? Very excited to introduce to our district 2 leaders that have been approved. The first one is a familiar face to our district, Ms. Leanne Childers, commonly known as Chili, will be moving into the role of senior network engineer. Ms. Childers has been with Team FCUSD for 4 years as the network engineer in ETIS, and she recently received her Bachelor of Science degree in Information Technology and maintains an advanced networking certificate. She was one of our Employees of the Year for 2021, and she is passionate about the innovation of education using technology, problem solving, and maintaining security at FCUSD. Congratulations, Chili, in this new role.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Chili.
Congratulations, Chili.
Thank you.
Chili, I really want to thank you because, I'm not tech savvy, but you hooked me up with the iPad, made sure everything worked, and connected it to my phone. So thank you, because if I didn't have you, I wouldn't even need this thing. I mean, seriously. So thank you so much for everything that you do. We
Anytime.
appreciate
Thank you guys so much.
All right.
So likewise, too, because you just helped me tonight. So you're awesome. We can't do
Thank
without
you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Jillian.
Thank you, Chili. And our second introduction is for our new principal of Folsom Cordova Community Charter, Ms. Mercedes Kirk. Mercedes began her journey in education 33 years ago, working for the San Francisco Unified School District as a Spanish bilingual elementary teacher. In 1991, she joined the FCUSD community and taught at Cordova Villa and Folsom Hills Elementary, where she was in charge of the K-5 implementation of the innovative Project Lead the Way STEM curriculum at that site. Most recently, she served as an educational consultant at Folsom Cordova Community Charter School. And her educational experience includes being the summer school ESY principal at Navigator Elementary in 2018. Ms. Kirk is passionate about cultivating and fostering a positive and safe school culture with a strong focus on optimizing student learning. Welcome and congratulations, Mercedes.
Thank you very much. I very much appreciate the opportunity to be the principal of the Folsom Cordova Community Charter School. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Hoover.
All right, moving on to public hearing, Sufficiency of Instructional Materials Textbook and Instructional Materials Act. Superintendent?
Yes, this item comes to the board each year, and per the resolution that you'll see right after the public hearing, we have to declare that we have adequate textbooks and resources for our students no later than the 8th week of school. So this public hearing allows us to hear from our stakeholders on this topic.
Any questions from the board?
No.
You need to open it.
Yeah. Open the public meeting. Thank you. Any questions from the board? Any public comment? All right.
No, Mr. Hoover.
No, thank you. We will close public hearing and we will move to discussion action. Item B, adopt resolution number 08252202, Sufficiency of Instructional Materials Textbook and Instructional Materials Act. Superintendent?
Yes, as I just mentioned, under the public hearing, Assembly Bill 831 requires that school districts pass a resolution stating that they have textbook and instructional materials for all students no later than the 8th week. And the resolution included with this item makes all those qualifications known that we do comply with. So if there aren't any questions, we'll ask for board action.
Any questions?
Mr. Vice President,
Yes.
that is actually an annual routine item that we go through every year. Barring no community comments, I'd like to move it.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a first from Mr. Clark, second from Mr. Short. Do we have any public comment tonight on this item? Any online?
No, Mr. Hoover.
Okay, Superintendent, please call the roll.
Mr. Hoover?
Aye.
Mr. Clark?
Aye.
Mr. Short?
Aye.
Mr. Hui?
Aye.
Ms. Perez?
Aye.
Ms. Sharosted?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to item C, adopt revisions to Board Policy BP 6158, Independent Study. Superintendent.
Yes, this item is coming to the board after being reviewed, this policy being reviewed by our subcommittee on August 15th. There were changes that CSBA made as a result of legislation, AB 130 last year. Those changes were reflected, and we had a first read of those changes, and then CSBA made their formal changes in December. So this policy reconciles those changes, and then new requirements that are coming through legislation that was just recently passed. So I know it's a very colorful document. The green represents the recommended new language from CSBA. The red lineouts represent what CSBA has deleted, and the blue represents the newest information that we have received. And CSBA will most likely be incorporating this in a formal policy, but it probably won't be until December, and we're required to have this in place at the beginning of the school year for our independent study.
Okay, thank you. Any board questions? Not hearing.
No, actually, I did.
Yep.
You did say that CSBA will review that in December.
Well, if not sooner, yes. We received that from our networks of advocacy groups. We asked that question. It'll be forthcoming.
So I'm wondering if it will be part of our legislative thing at CSBA. Ed, do you know?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
Most likely.
Most likely it'll be discussed. Okay. You know, that was the only question I had on that.
All right, any other questions? Do we have public comment? Online?
No, Mr. Hoover.
Okay, board comments or a motion?
I'll move it.
Motion
Second.
by Mr. Clark, second by Mr. Short. Superintendent, please call the roll.
Mr. Hoover?
Aye.
Mr. Clark?
Aye.
Mr. Short?
Aye.
Mr. Hui? Ms. Perez?
Aye.
Ms. Sharosted?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Thank you.
Moving to 13, discussion. Item A, first read, revisions of board policy BP 3516.5, emergency schedules. Superintendent?
Yes, this policy was also reviewed by our board subcommittee on August 15th. Again, a reflection of change in legislation with AB 130 requires districts who are applying for credit or apportionment for days lost due to emergency closures have an affidavit, and this policy reflects that. Again, the red are the CSBA deletions to this policy. The green are the new pieces of the policy. But a lot of this is procedural, and we are following it. But this brings our policy up to the latest updates from CSBA.
Thank you. Any board questions? Any public comment?
No, Mr. Hoover.
Thank you. This is just a discussion item, so bring that back. Next, information, item A, summary of 2021-2022 school year data covering behavior, grades, social emotional learning, and learning loss. Superintendent.
Yes, when we add items under information, it's more of a staff report, and I do want to recognize the staff who put this together. It is our first compilation of what we're calling our vital signs, and this is reconciling our data for the 21-22 school year. But Dr. Huber, Ms. Carla Magno, Mr. Meyer, Ms. Hazarian, Dr. Peace, and Ms. Malhai were all part of putting this staff report together. And if there are questions that we can answer, we're happy to do so. Or if there's information that the board is asking that we bring back as a discussion item at a future meeting, we can do that as well. But typically information serves as a staff report.
Do we have any questions from the board? Hearing none, do we do public comment on this one?
Typically we don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we will move on to superintendent's report.
Wow, all of a sudden that came quickly.
It's a miracle.
I wanted to do a shout out for our Teacher of the Year, Miss Christina Ray. Tomorrow night, she's going to be recognized at the Sacramento County Office of Education Teacher of the Year ceremony. And she's representing Folsom, Cordova, and our whole county. So we wish her all the best. And we're very proud of her being selected as one of the honorees. Excellent. And I also want to thank our student board members for their involvement, not only in school, but they've been visiting school sites with some of our board members. They came to our Cordova Community Council luncheon last week, and were part of our district representation as we highlighted a lot of our programs in Rancho Cordova. So I want to thank them, and I know they're balancing many different schedules. So big shout out to Rosio and Ria. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Moving to board member reports. Start with Mr. Short. Oh, we can start with our student board members. Rosia, do you want to go first?
Yes, thank you. Going along with Dr. Kaligian, we did visit a lot of schools the past week with Ria, and we really enjoyed that.
Thank you. Ria, any report?
Yeah, just the same. It's been great to be out in the community a little bit more. Had a great experience at the Cordova Chamber of Commerce luncheon. It was such a great opportunity to meet some folks out in Rancho Cordova, and then had a great experience visiting some school sites as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to hopefully visiting every school site this year. That's the goal, and just meeting the students and hearing their voices.
Thank you. Mr. Short.
I'm really happy to hear that we made a tentative agreement with our FCA group, so glad to hear that. Our greatest assets are our employees, and we should value them and continue to do that and support them, and to establish a good morale in our staff, because they're the ones that are closest to our kids and to our work, and that's where they make it happen to make us a great district. And so I'm just really happy that we're moving forward with that. So I want to appreciate everyone that worked on that. I know it's been pretty difficult, but we got there, and I'm really glad. So other than that, I'm happy for everybody got promoted tonight. That's good to see us moving forward with a lot of that, and I want to thank everybody for delivering tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Short. Mr. Clerk?
Well, actually, kind of happy I don't have to make a motion to extend the meeting until 11 o'clock tonight. To be totally honest with you. Congratulations to FCEA and the bargaining team. You guys did a great job, and I want to congratulate the board for really sitting down, listening to our teachers, and making the right decision. Yeah, we have work to do. So just keep the momentum with CSEA and, make some positive change with our bargaining units. Thank you, Dr. Collegian, for your presentation at the Cordova Community Luncheon. I very rarely get a chance to go to those, but I really enjoyed what you did to show what we are doing in our Rancho Cordova schools, because we are doing big things. So I appreciate everything that you did at the luncheon. Lupi was in earlier, and I'm going to tell you about that lady. I've known her since 2012. And even when I was on the Cordova High PTSA, she gave me her thoughts, her ideas. And yeah, she wasn't that abrasive at this meeting. She can be, because the call I got earlier today from her, it was pretty rough because, she doesn't like to use that word, but she did with me a few times. I share her concerns, especially at Rancho Cordova Elementary. Lucky for me, I drove by today and there was SRO out front, but that still doesn't help the safety of our kids. Now, she did make mention about cameras. I know that we talked about installing cameras at Cordova and at a few of our schools, so hopefully with the Vice President's permission, I can get an update from the Superintendent on our safety plans, where we are with those cameras, because I like to see them sooner rather than later. Transportation, I know that these kids are not sitting on the floor on the bus. I just know that's not happening. So Superintendent, if you can look into that, I would greatly appreciate that. Site visits. I had a good time with board member Rhea and Rocio. We went to Riverview STEM, Cordova Meadows, Rancho Cordova Elementary, and just to see student board members go into a classroom, those kids, their eyes lit up. And I love that you guys talked about the encouragement and that one day they could possibly be active in SAB. That's how we get our kids involved. So I appreciate you guys talking it up with them. Actually, I was with them on those visits, but today I played hooky and went to Mangini Ranch, Russell Ranch, Vista del Lago, and Empire Oaks. Enjoyed sitting down with the students, answering their questions, getting the hugs from the kinders. I love that. So I look forward to visiting more schools. I think Tuesday I may do it again. The student board members or any of my colleagues, if you want to come along with me, you're free to come. Only if you're caught up on your schoolwork, though, because we talked about that. Also, a shout out to Mitchell Middle School. They had their back to school night. I understand many other schools had their back to school nights. Unfortunately, I can't clone myself, so I went to Mitchell. Had a good time visiting the classrooms, talking to teachers, parents, students. They're doing some good things. So I look forward to visiting the other schools. And Superintendent, if I can add one more thing that I've been kind of complaining about since 2016, we need to solidify those dates for graduations for Vista and Cordova. Let's not have them on the same night, because I made a promise to 2 Vista students today that I would be at their graduation, but I just totally forgot. There's students at Cordova that I promised. So I got to try to keep my promise somehow, or cut out on one, and I don't know how that's going to work. So if we can look into that, I greatly appreciate it. Other than that, I think I've spoken up. That's it.
Okay, Mr. Hui.
Thank you. Yeah, a few things. Number one, I did want to mention, I didn't get a chance to mention on the informational item, but thank you, Dr. Huber and your team. Really enjoyed that report. Excited to hear a bit more about it. So thank you very much. Also wanted to say congratulations, Dawn, Sarah, Sean, all of your team. I know you guys have worked so hard with FCA, put in a lot of hours, and really appreciate all you've done there. I'm looking forward to getting that item on our agenda next time. And but want to make sure you know you and your team are very appreciated. Back to school night, I wanted to mention as well, I was at Vista's back to school night last week, and just want to give a huge shout out to their principal, Kim Moore. It was incredibly welcoming. The signs were incredible. Students were out, making sure everybody knew where to go. So I'm sure they worked incredibly hard on that as well, and want to make sure that they know that that was appreciated, just as a parent that was walking around trying to find where the H building is. So thank you, Kim, for that. Last thing for me, big congratulations to Folsom Middle School 8th grader Mason Huey for making the volleyball team. Looking forward to watching some games soon.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Huey. I'll try to keep my report short. I do really feel the concerns expressed by a few of the community members earlier about public safety on our campuses, and I just really think it emphasizes the importance of our SROs and how we need to continue to make sure that they have a presence, and maybe even a greater presence on some of our campuses. So I also want to point out that it was kind of talked about earlier tonight about how we've talked about doing a lot of things in Rancho Cordova. What are we going to actually do? And I do, really appreciate the superintendent, for your report at the Rancho Cordova Community Luncheon, really highlighting what we are doing, not just what we're talking about, but the actions that we're taking to really invest in our students in Rancho Cordova, including our full day kindergarten programs, including a lot of the STEAM programs that are being developed. And I just want to say thank you for coming to the luncheon and really sharing that with the community. So I was really happy to be there and happy to hear all the great things that are happening in Rancho Cordova. With that, we will move on to advanced planning. Item A, next board meeting will be, Superintendent, I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me.
September 8th.
September 8th, 2022. Item B, 12-month board calendar. And then we'll move to item C, suggested future agenda items. Is there anything anyone would like to bring up tonight?
Yeah, Vice President?
Yes, Mr. Huey.
Thank you. Well, I'll just make this as quick as I can, but I just wanted to mention within this last year, the board approved all-day kindergarten for our Title I sites, as well as next school year for all of our kindergarten sites. I think this was a really good decision. And of course, with any change has come some things that we need to kind of iron out. So I've been hearing from some teachers about some of the issues that they're facing in their classrooms. I think there's a few things we can do to help them, but one of them that I want to suggest tonight is related to instructional aides. One of the things I have heard is that it's been a challenge. We realize that to get instructional aides, and we do have many kindergarten classes. It sounds like to me that don't have aides in them. We currently have 17 separate instructional aide positions for our classified staff. Tonight, I would like to propose the board consider asking the district to put together a proposal for one more position, a dedicated classified position for kindergarten instructional aides. My instinct on this is that to ensure that we get candidates that we want in the classrooms and that want to be in the classrooms, that we start that pay range somewhere around the 25th range, which would be $23.94 per hour. I think we need to do that for our kindergartners. I think we need to see what that would look like financially. In the interest of our kindergarten teachers as well, I'd like to propose that we ask that the district staff bring this back to us at our next board meeting. I don't want to waste any more time without help in those classrooms and with our teachers struggling with their students. So if the board's amenable to that, I would like for that to be something that the superintendent and her team can put together for us. If they are, I'm happy to send you that information that I just said so that if you didn't catch it all, writing it down.
Okay, do we have any, I think that sounds like something worth exploring. Do we have a consensus on that to bring that back at a future meeting?
I would like just for priorities, because we have a lot on there with the superintendent, because if we keep prioritizing everything, we don't know, the superintendent needs to kind of maybe prioritize for us.
Are we talking about the timing of bringing
Yeah,
something
timing,
like the
yes,
timing? Okay. I'm going to have to check with my staff. What I do have for the board that I'll be able to send to you tomorrow is current summary of all the classrooms that have the paraprofessionals or the bilingual instructional assistants available right now. And yes, we do have a couple of schools that are still needing to fill positions too. But that general paraprofessional position that we agreed to have at every one of our Title I sites that have the full day kinder was to use that position as needed, and that's what they've been doing. But we still have some vacancies to fill in some of those classified positions, but we'll do our best to bring it back at the next meeting, a proposal.
Okay. Do we have support to bring, I mean, we can defer to staff on timing, but do we have support for the concept?
Yeah, as long as the superintendent's
okay.
maintaining her operations.
Yeah, I think if we can bring it back next meeting, great. But Mr. Hui, maybe you can work with Superintendent on that.
Sure, yeah, my preference, I realize there are other priorities. I just don't want another month to go fight for our kindergarten teachers.
Thank you. Any other proposed topics, future?
Just wanted to touch in on the fentanyl policy resolution. What's the holdup on that? It looks like it's committee review, September.
Yes, and we're actually looking at two policies, and this came up after we started looking at the one policy, alcohol and other drugs, which we did at our August 15th. And then we looked at another policy that was connected to that called administering medication and monitoring health conditions, Board Policy 5141.21. That was not on our agenda last meeting, but that is the one that talks about having each site have access to an opioid treatment if there was an issue. And just like we have EpiPens, that's in the policy right now, we would have something that would be an anti-opioid administration in the form of Narcan or whatever that may be at each school site, and who can administer it and what kind of training they would need. So we're going to review that policy with our Director of Health on September 19th and plan to bring the policy
Hey, we can move that up. My God, that's like
life and death.
Yeah, that's like 3 weeks away before it even goes to committee review.
Just had an incident.
And we just had an incident, and we need to get this rolling. We got to move it up somehow, some way.
Do you want to bypass the policy subcommittee or just do it via email? I'll send the.
If the board is good with it,
I'm fine bypassing.
we can bypass, but this
Unless-
needs to get out.
Yeah.
I mean, we made this request back in, I think, May.
Especially with after consulting medical, because getting that
Right.
to our staff right now.
Are there
We can
any,
have another incident and we lose a life.
are there any concerns from staff about, that need to be discussed at the policy committee, or is it
I think there were a couple of things that Ms. Kay wanted to bring forward because this would be new in our policy. Dr. Huber?
We can have a.
Yeah, from what I understand, one of the things is a little bit different because in the way we were thinking of it, it's like, well, why not? It's like an EpiPen. But unfortunately, the victim, and once it's administered, people that administer it somewhat need training in terms of you don't know what you're going to get in terms of how the victim responds.
Right.
And so it's not just they kind of come back and everything's fine. They can respond, I guess, pretty physically, pretty aggressively, depending on how they react to the medication. So there was that concern.
Okay.
Originally, as I understood it, the way it was being brought forward is since emergency personnel, police officers, et cetera, first responders have it, we were not going to have it in our schools. But that has somewhat changed here lately, and other school districts around us are adopting it. And so that's why we started to move in that direction as well. But there were some concerns, some needs for perhaps training. And that is one of the reasons that there was some caution to this. But if we want to bring it back more quickly, we certainly can do
What
so.
I would suggest for the policy committee, we can have a special meeting or bump it up or something like that.
When do you meet next? Is that the night?
The 19th.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I'm fine bypassing policy.
Yeah, I am
committee
too.
If that's,
if you feel comfortable with that.
I mean, if other districts have done this and given the prevalence of fentanyl, can our SROs carry this right now?
So that's my understanding they do.
They do, yeah.
That's my understanding. I could be
First
wrong. That's
responders.
my understanding, though, is that police officers do carry this. All first responders carry it, from what I understand.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean,
That's fine with me to bypass the
Yeah.
Okay.
committee as well.
So are we good with that?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's life and
So
death.
maybe we can bring that for Discussion?
Well, discussion, the quickest would be discussion action, because that way we would have it. But I might still convene the subcommittee before that, just so you can have eyes on it.
Right.
Okay.
Ahead of time.
And I know there was a presentation at most of the schools by Chris and Laura Dittler. Is it any possible way to have them come and share that story here at a board meeting? Because not everybody has seen it. I've seen it twice. And the first time I saw it, you know me, Mr. Emotional, but I think the public needs to see it too, to bring more awareness.
We did
to
send
it.
out that video clip in one of our district messages about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So every parent and every student have access to it. But yes, bringing it up at our school sites again and they've done some assemblies as well, is my understanding.
No, I mean, at a board meeting, I mean, how long is that video? It's not that long.
I believe the video is roughly about 8 minutes.
Yeah, presentations longer than that.
And we do have Kelly Richardson presenting at our next meeting per board's request on internet, cyber, and cell phone safety. So she is actually our presenter that we have scheduled for September 8th. But I think we could do that at a future meeting if that's the consensus of the board, to show that video.
I'd like to see it again. I think the public would like to see it again. And for board members who haven't seen it, I think it'd be great for them to see it.
Put it on the list.
Basically.
Okay. Any other suggested action or suggested future agenda items? I do have one. I would like to discuss at a future agenda item. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. I do not think we have to bring this to a future agenda item. I know there's a lot of things piling up here, but I would like our staff to consider writing a letter to CDPH asking that they align with CDC guidelines on testing, on mandatory testing of employees. I think this is something we continue to grapple with, and we really need to encourage them. From what I understand, they're kind of dragging their feet on this, and we're already in conversations with them. So I would love, as a board, for the superintendent to send them a letter just asking that they align as soon as possible. So I don't know if anyone has any thoughts on that.
Actually, AXA is advocating for that as well, and they're putting together a letter.
Okay.
And I reached out to them to see if they have it ready yet. So,
Good.
yeah,
Okay.
we can do that.
So
That's good.
we don't need to bring it back on an agenda if you guys just wanted to allow the superintendent to do that. Is that good?
That's what she's doing.
Okay, I'd appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for your consideration. Nothing further. We'll move to, we do not need a closed session tonight, thankfully. We will move to adjournment. Does anyone object to adjourning before 8 o'clock? Nope. All right.
I do. It's not midnight. It's not midnight.
All right. We are adjourned. Thank you.